Hello and welcome to my channel. I am Steph Wild and I am a wild woman coach, I guess, or body confidence coach. Everything that falls into being a wild woman that lives her true authentic self, that's what I am. So yeah. Haven't nailed that part yet. Today we're going to be talking about setting boundaries and why it's so important to set boundaries so that you know who you are, so that you can be your true authentic self, so you can let your wild woman come out and play, so she can guide you towards living your true authentic life and being real in this life and feeling real in your body and feeling good about life, because that's what we're all here for. And while I explain to you about boundary setting, I'm also going to be changing the chicken coop because it's a bit nasty and it needs to be changed so that the chookies can have a comfortable home to sleep in at night. Recently I've been thinking a lot about, I've been on this healing journey and I've gotten rid of shame, I've learned about boundary setting, I've learned to respect myself, I've healed from trauma, and all these other things that you do along the healing journey. And I was just like, what is all this for? Like, why do we actually go through this? Because there's a lot of challenges that come along with this journey. And the reason, now that I'm kind of coming out the other end and everything that I'm thinking about, I've come to the conclusion that we do it because we want to be our true authentic selves. And all of us are so unique in who we are. And society will plonk different things onto us and tell us that we should be a certain way. Our parents have certain expectations of us. We might have trauma and then act out based on our trauma responses and survival mechanisms. And somewhere underneath all of that, we just get lost. So the reason why we go on this healing journey and uncover who we are and utilize this wild woman within us to help cut through anything that no longer belongs to us and that isn't our true authentic self, the reason why we do all of that is so that we can find out who we really are. And boundary setting is one of those crucial things along this journey, so that you can know who you are at your core, what you do want out of life, what you don't want, what kind of experiences you want to be living, what experiences you don't want to be living. And it's also about creating this safety within your body so that you know that you can trust yourself. And that is crucial if you want to have clarity on what the next steps are for you, and where you want to go and what kind of life you want to be leading that is aligned with your true authentic self. Boundaries are like the ultimate way to respect ourselves. It's a way of self-care. It's a way of regulating our nervous systems. It's a way of feeling comfortable with ourselves so that we can tap into that deep knowing wisdom within our bodies on where we want to go next, so that we can trust our intuition and say no to things that don't align with our wild souls. boundaries are this interesting thing that a lot of people find difficult, and if you haven't grown up in a family like myself that respected boundaries, it might even seem like setting a boundary seems like an asshole move. However, boundaries are the exact opposite of that. Boundaries help to regulate your nervous system. So when you set a boundary, it's not about rejecting someone. It's about self-care and respecting yourself. And when you have self-care, when you respect yourself, that creates safety within yourself, and it also creates safety within the other person. So it's not about rejection at all. It's just about being able to look after yourself and your own nervous system. So we got to understand that when we set healthy boundaries, it's not about rejection, it's not about the other person, it's literally the person that is setting the boundary with you, it's literally them looking after themselves. And when that happens in the Tantra world, we say thank you for doing so. Because we know that when one person's nervous system is looked after and safe, then that means that it's creating safety for the people that they interact with, that it's creating safety with them being able to contain themselves and look after their own needs without other people having to look after their needs and trying to second guess what it is that they want. It is about creating safety, knowing that this person isn't going to explode all of a sudden because their needs weren't met or they didn't communicate what they needed. It's creating safety within relationships. Healthy boundaries are really important. Boundaries are actually one of the key indicators on whether or not you are living your authentic self. Without boundaries, you don't know who you are. Without boundaries, you don't know if you can trust yourself. Without boundaries, you don't really have self-respect or self-love. Without boundaries, you're essentially living according to someone else's life and their expectations of you, because you don't know who you are and what you want in life. Also, let's have a think about this. Who are you more likely to respect? A person that sets a healthy boundary, or a person that has no boundaries whatsoever? Most of the time when we set boundaries, it's about strengthening relationships. It's about connection, true connection. Connecting to another person or to other people through true authenticity. Now, the interesting thing about boundaries is everyone's talking about boundaries and how important it is to set boundaries. But a lot of the time, the advice that is given out there states that you just need to set a boundary, and it's more of a thinking thing. But the interesting thing about boundaries is that boundaries start in the body as a feeling. Ow! I set a boundary. You are not allowed to headbutt me with those horns, mister. No. 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 And this is where connecting to your body comes in, and connecting to yourself comes in. Because if you're always in your head and you haven't really spent time understanding your body and what all the different feelings and sensations and things that happen within you mean, ow, no, no. When I say no, I mean no. No is a complete sentence, Elmo. When you're not connected to yourself and the wisdom of your body, then you're not able to identify the feeling. Jagger! No. Do not tip the camera over. When you're not connected to your body and you're not able to identify the different feelings and sensations and everything that happens in your body for your body to communicate a boundary. Come here, Falky. then you simply won't know when a boundary comes up or when it doesn't. So you don't actually know yourself if you're not connected in with your body and understand the sensations, understand emotions, understand everything that your body communicates with you, because your body communicates boundaries to you all the time. When we first start setting boundaries, they can feel really jarring to our nervous system, because we may have been brought up in a family where there have been no boundaries. We may have, out of protective mechanisms as a child, grown up to become a people pleaser in order to get what we want. And maybe we're just not used to kind of that direct communication, because a lot of people aren't taught this. So initially, boundaries can be a bit jarring to start setting, and it might feel uncomfortable to do. But the more you do them, the more you actually set your boundaries, the more comfortable you become with them, and the more your nervous system starts to relax into it. And there comes a point also that when you know your truth, when you know your no, when you know your yes, and what that means for you, and are able to communicate with it, initially you might need to set your boundaries more, but there comes a point where you start to embody them, and your energy starts to reflect those boundaries. So people just don't fuck with you as much anymore. So, and it kind of just becomes like, people just don't, your energy reflects the boundaries that you have embodied, the respect that you have for yourself. And so people, you don't seem to, and so you don't attract the same situations into your life that you may have previously, where people used and abused or trampled all over you and did all of that kind of stuff. So that's the exciting part of boundaries, that you actually embody that self-respect, embody that no, or and your yes becomes more truthful. So that's really exciting. The bad news about boundaries, which a lot of people don't like hearing, is that when you start to set your boundaries, it's important that you also respect the other person's boundaries as well, so anyone else's boundaries. And this can be jarring, because we might not be used to, we may have grown up in a situation where because we weren't taught boundary setting, we also didn't respect other people's boundaries. And so part of growing into this, or evolving into this new boundary embodied person, is understanding that you need to respect other people's boundaries as well. That it's important not only for you, but for that person to look after their nervous system, to create that safety within their bodies, to have confidence within themselves. So part of setting boundaries is also respecting other people's boundaries. And that can be hard to start with. Another thing that I want you to know about boundaries is that they don't have to be harsh. They can be set in beautiful, loving ways. And hopefully the other people have an understanding of how important boundaries are, that they respect that you are communicating with them in a beautiful, loving way as well, and setting those boundaries because of how important they are for themselves and for the person that you're setting the boundary with. So it doesn't have to be this jarring no, although sometimes maybe it's required. But it can come from an embodied understanding of yourself, and just purely consciously communicating with someone what it is that you're setting a boundary with and why it's important to you. So I hope you've enjoyed today's video on boundary setting. If you would love to learn more on how to connect back in with your body and sensitize yourself to your body's wisdom and kind of reclaim your wild woman and live an authentic life, then make sure you check out my website. I have some free things there. I think the Body Love Masterclass is still free. Wild and Aligned Masterclass is still free. And I also have the Feminine Rewilding 4-month program that will be starting soon. There's some incredible women in the group already, and we're going to be going into boundary setting, embodied boundary setting, sensitizing the body, regulating the nervous system, menstrual cycle awareness, and how that helps you live an authentic life as a woman, because it's so much more than just a biological function, and just so much more, so much more. So go check that out on the website, and jump in quick because we're starting very soon. What else do I need to tell you? Thank you so much for watching, and make sure that you subscribe. If there's any other videos that you would like me to make for you, then please pop them down in the comment section below. I'm going to take notes and write it all down and create them for you. I'm so excited to start creating videos for you again and teaching you how to love yourself, how to live an authentic truth, how to live your authentic truth, how to utilize everything that you came into this world with, your incredible body, and how it serves you to creating your most beautiful authentic life, and how to experience more joy in life and connectedness and pleasure, all that good stuff. So thank you for being here, and make sure you stay wild.